Hi, I'm Jenny. Thanks so much for joining me on your mat today. I'll be guiding you through this practice, cultivating the energy of compassion. And we'll begin by using a mudra. A mudra is a nonverbal way of communicating what our intent is through the tips of our fingers and the palms of our hands. So begin by gazing down at your fingertips and taking the middle finger, crossing it over the index. The index finger and the middle finger will come to touch, and then the ring finger and the pinky will interweave. The thumbs will touch as well. Now your fingers are energy controllers. So bring the hands around your heart space. Soften your gaze. Begin to bring attention to your breath. Notice how you're breathing. We think of our hands as conductors of energy. A control panel which we can guide energy into and extend energy out from. And for this particular practice, we'll cultivate the energy of compassion. Compassion towards ourselves, compassion towards others, those frantic and hectic pieces of ourselves. Those hostile and disagreeable points of battle that we often confront and come into conflict with ourselves as well as with others. Compassion to those parts of ourselves, because they too have something to teach. The fingertips continue to generate the energy of compassion. The breath begins to distribute it through the body. About 3 more cycles. And bring that mudra of energetic compassion towards our heart space. Release the mudra down. Roll the shoulders down away from the ears. And come to Supta Baddha Konasana. The soles of the feet will come to touch, the knees will open wide. Roll the weight forward onto your sit bones, take a hold of your shins or the outer knees and round through your back. As you round through the back, the weight will shift back onto the sit bones, spreading the space between your pubic bone and the crown of your head, creating a deep C shape. The inhale, you'll roll the weight forward onto your seat, tilt the sit bones back as you lift the heart forward. And smoothly glide from a rounded back to an extended heart. About 3 more rounds. Beginning to link the breath to your movement. Generating the energy of compassion. Keep the heart lifted, drop the shoulders down away from the ears and spread the shoulders nice and wide. The core is toning here to keep the spine and the waist as long as possible. And then melt the heart down towards the arches of the feet. Take the hands to the inner part of the thighs. If you like, glide the knees closer down to the earth and reach the crown of the head forward. So what does the breath feel like when you're generating compassion? Lift the torso back up. Draw the knees to touch. Drop them over to the right hand side for Mermaid Pose. The right arm's going to reach up and over to the left. Get a few breaths into side bend. Bring the right hand down. Take the gaze over the right shoulder. And rotate your spine. Finger pads are conductors of energy. So are you rooted down through the fingertips or grounding through the palm, or a mixture of both? Unwind, come back through Supta Baddha Konasana, a few rounds of cat-cow, rounding through the back. Lifting up through the heart with breath, rounding through the back, lifting up through the heart. A nice rolling motion for the spine, starting to wake that energy up through the base and lift it up through the crown of the head. Draw the knees together, drop them over to the left-hand side. The left arm's going to extend up, side body stretch up and over to the right. A few breaths into left side body. Generating compassion towards self, compassion towards others. Walk the hands over to the left-hand side. Send the gaze over the left shoulder. Find that compassionate breath in. It'll feel different for each and every one of us. Release, unwind. Supta Baddha Konasana, lifting the heart, drawing the chest forward. Now this is the second time here, so spread the low back nice and broad, the shoulders nice and broad. Then use the touch of the hands on the shins or on the inner legs to draw the spine a little longer. Exhale out the air. Come up through the spine. Reverse tabletop. Ankles will plant. Knees will lift, stack them right above the ankles, lift up through the chest. Good. Now spread the ribs nice and wide. Option to drop the head back to open up through your throat. Nice spaciousness in the mouth, engaging through the backside of the body. Generate compassion. Deep breath in and out. Lower the hips down. You'll keep the right leg forward. You'll step the left leg back, and you're going to come up into a half frog pose. So I'm shifting the weight into my right leg, and then just beginning to rock back and forth into that deep bend through the right knee. You'll settle here in a half frog variation. You can bring the forearms down to the earth, drop down through the head. The gravity is pulling the pelvis closer to the earth. The head is heavy. The arms will extend straight. Now the left leg will come to meet the right in a full frog. So just like in Supta Baddha Konasana, we'll use the back of the arms to open up through the inner groin. And you've got these deep folds in the creases of the hips and the knee joints underneath the armpits and at the elbows. Send your breath to the folds of the body. Release the hands down, lift the hips up, point the toes forward for a wide-legged forward fold. Allow for the head to be heavy. We'll come back into the mudra. Middle finger, pointer finger, cross. Tips of the fingers connect. Ring finger, pinky finger interlace, and the thumbs come to touch. Send your gaze down to your mudra. Generating the energy of compassion. You'll exhale out the breath. Release through the mudra. Slowly rise up to mountain pose. Reach the arms up towards the sky. Forward fold, long spine. Halfway lift. Forward fold. Step the feet back to a high plank. Lower down to mid-plank, upward facing dog, downward facing dog. A few breaths in downward facing dog. Traction the hands and the feet away from one another. Draw the hips nice and wide by engaging through the outer hips. Take a full breath in and a full breath out. Step the right foot forward to runner's lunge. Lower the left knee down to the earth. Come back onto your forearms and open up through the right knee. The mudra, crossing middle finger over pointer, connecting the tips. Ring finger, pinky, interweave, and thumbs come to touch. So with repetition and time, the mind starts to digest the idea of a mudra, absorb it, maybe to come to understand it. With each representation of it. 2 more deep breaths. Inhale and exhale. Releasing the mudra, stepping the back leg forward to frog, holding your frog, bringing the hands behind the hips, lowering the hips down to the earth. Reverse tabletop. Lift the hips up, stretch out through the shoulders, take a full breath in and out. Good, 2 more rounds. Either expose the neck or keep the chin nice and parallel to reduce the strain that this particular pose might be triggering. Then lower the hips down to the earth. You'll come into a boat pose, keep the hands behind you, and this time you're going to swivel on your hips all the way around. You'll come forward where that left leg is forward. The right leg steps back in that modified frog-like shape. You'll start to bend into the left hip, rocking the weight forward and back. And then lowering down onto your forearms. Cultivating the energy of compassion. And for me, I'm directing that energy towards the hostile parts of myself. The disagreeable places, the frantic places that often my mind and thoughts carry me to. You'll step the back leg forward, coming into frog. Now these might not be graceful transitions, and that's okay. In your frog, lift your heart up, draw the ears back, forward fold, point the toes forward, return to your mudra. And be easy on yourself if the mudra doesn't happen naturally. Maybe you land on an instinctual mudra that for you represents compassion. Exhale out the breath. Release the hands, halfway lift. Forward fold. Rise up to mountain pose. Forward fold. Plant the hands, step the feet back, high plank, lower to mid plank, upward facing dog, and downward facing dog. So what kind of energy is being absorbed by the tips of the fingers, the palms of your hands? The control panels that bring life in, extend life out. You'll step the left leg forward to a runner's lunge, lower the right knee down, open the left thigh towards the earth, and again settle in on that mudra as you open deeply through the outer rotators. And then maybe carry the weight forward a bit, back a bit, side to side. Infuse your practice with compassion. Holding ourselves with a little more kindness, a bit more care. Deep breath in and out. Re-straighten through the arms. Step the right leg forward, come into your frog. The hands will come behind the hips. The hips will lower down to the earth for reverse tabletop or reverse plank. The hands will walk a little further back. Legs will straighten in front of you. Reverse plank. Good. Lower the hips. Lift the legs. Boat pose. Take a breath in and a breath out. Cross the legs. Roll yourself forward to a tabletop. The legs will uncross. From your tabletop position, the right arm is going to reach up high. Circle through your wrist. Thread the needle. Right arm underneath the left. Gaze falls to the left. So when we're frantic, when we're hostile, sometimes we need to slow down our practice. Be deliberate about the energy that we're cultivating. Exhale out the air. Reach the right arm up. Nice large arm circles with that right arm, a couple in each direction. Bring the right arm to plant, the left arm extends high, roll out through the wrist, thread the needle. So as we cultivate that energy towards the disgruntled or hostile parts of ourselves, we can hold those pieces and parts a little more tenderly. When we hold them tenderly and with care, we can examine them, maybe understand their message, and grow wiser from it. Exhale out the air. Bring the left arm up, nice large arm circles. And then reverse the opposite direction. Bring the hips back to the heels. Take the right hand behind you. Lift up through the hips in a half arcing camel's pose. The tailbone tilts forward. The ribs in the front body open up. Lower the hips down. Take it over to the other side. Nice rainbow through your camel. Lower the hips down. Bring the arms around. Come into the mudra right behind your back. The ring finger and pinky interweave. The middle finger crosses over the pointer. They come to touch, as do the thumbs. Come to stand on your knees. Reach your energetic mudra down to the earth as you lift your heart space high. And find a nice balance between the loving pieces of yourself, the thriving, the goal-oriented, and those disgruntled or hostile or displeased pieces of you that are often in conflict. You have the capacity, you're generating the compassion to hold the two. Then lower the hips down. Release through the mudra. Take a moment just to feel. We're going to work our way into tripod headstand or an inversion. Now an inversion is just where the head comes below the heart. So you're welcome to move into embryo pose or child's pose. Otherwise, tripod headstand, you'll interlace all your fingers and bring the palms of the hands to touch the crown of the head. The control panels of your finger, the energetic output and input both on the crown of the head and the finger pads are in this communication with one another. Planting that energy of compassion into our thoughts. So it's not just physical. You're going to bring your head down. Press into the forearms. Get solid through the shoulders on the back side of the body. Extend the legs out straight. Maybe one heel lifts, one leg lifts, maybe the other leg lifts, or you teeter between the two. Your body will find a balance as it sways from side to side. Generating the energy of compassion. Good. 2 more breaths. Lower yourself down. Stay in child's pose or embryo if that's where you are. We'll all meet in a child's pose or an embryo pose. You'll walk your hands up. Extend the legs out in front of you. Scoot the hips closer to the heels. Lower yourself all the way down onto your back. Eagle legs. The right leg will cross over the left. Lean the legs over to the left-hand side. Reach the right arm up by your right ear. And then take nice large arm circles up and around. Reverse direction. And if your shoulder's sensitive or in any area, sore in any area, a little disagreeable, you're generating the energy of compassion. Compassionate towards ourselves. Bring the legs up. You'll switch out the legs, crossing the left leg on top, dropping the knees over to the right hand side, reaching the left arm up in those large circles. So when we cultivate that energy of compassion towards those sore places, we begin a conversation of opening up, of acceptance, of self-love. We give them the space to speak. And we honor that space. Reaching the left arm, coming back up through. Uncrossing the legs. Send the legs out. Coming into that mudra. Middle finger crosses over in pointer. Ring and pinky come to touch. Ring and pinky interweave. Pointer, middle, and thumb touch. The forearms rest on the mat. Generating energy to cultivate compassion. And stay with the mudra, that representation of energetic compassion. Release the mudra and come into final Shavasana. Wherever you choose to be. Hold that space tenderly, gently, and with care. With light, love, gratitude, and grace, namaste.